Good evening and welcome to the May 1st, 2025 Wall City Council meeting. Carolyn, would you please call the roll?
Hoffman,
Here.
Morgan,
Here.
Stan Anderson,
Here.
Houston,
Here.
Williams,
Here.
Hawk,
Here.
Mike Anderson.
Here.
Everyone's present.
Okay, thank you. Let us stand and say the pledge of allegiance to Grand Deputy.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, sir. Do we have any order of business for emergencies?
None,
Okay, do we have an attendance on Zoom?
not at this time, but a Zoom link has been sent to the attorney and he will maybe be joining us.
Okay, very good. So with that then, could I please have the Deputy Austin do the Pennington County Deputy Report for us, please? And that's also been included in your packets.
Well, good evening. Well, as we all tell, that summer's officially here, spring hit, I think a couple days ago, so. With that being said, we know that stuff's increasing. Two things that I'd like to bring up is drinking and driving. Never been an excuse to drink and drive. Kind of north of town, we've noticed that there's been several beer cans from people driving by and tossing them out. So I would just recommend that people stay home if they're gonna do that, or ask for someone to give them a ride. I will tell you that we are not lenient when it comes to that. So caveat off that is, as well as that, can also cause accidents. The most recent one that we've had was on I-90, and Garrett kind of knows what happened there. Someone was ejected and they passed away on the scene. So it would be behoove everybody to not do that and kind of think of everyone else on the road as well, because it's not only affecting you, it's affecting everyone in the community. So other than that, we don't have anything else to go over right now, unless you guys have any questions.
Would you explain what our rotation of deputies are now? It appears that there's been more on duty.
Yeah, so we actually got a new person out here. We've got a total of 4 of us right now. And then a 5th one to include our supervisor. So technically, we're actually fully staffed out here right now. Typically the rotation is we get a 1 rotation spot for 6 months. Other than that, it should be permanent deputies that are out here.
Okay, well, that's good to see. And then did you have some kind of event going on yesterday that caused 5 or 6 of you to be in town?
Yeah, we're just having a physical fitness challenge, just kind of a little group together, and we kind of compete as a squad versus the other squads across Pennington County, just to see kind of where we rate amongst each other.
Are you fit?
I would say so, ish.
I mean, how'd you
Just don't ask me to run, I might be mad.
We're going the middle.
Around there, we don't want to go too low or too high. We'll call it average.
Fantastic. Okay, does any of the other council have any comments or? All right, thank you very much for being here.
Thank you.
Very much appreciate that. Okay. So, the next item is item number 7, and I do need to request a motion to add executive session to our agenda. It was missed when the agenda was sent out. So could I entertain a motion then to add executive session at the end of the meeting?
So moved.
Okay, so Rick has moved
Right.
and Stan seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Bye.
Opposed, motion carries. And so now we will adopt the agenda. Do I have a motion to adopt the agenda as amended?
So moved.
Mike moved
Second.
and Dan seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Okay, is there any need for anyone to identify a conflict of interest or a need to abstain for some of the items that are on the agenda?
I need the same for 28 and 32.
Okay, number 28 and 32, okay? Anyone else?
Yeah, I am gonna abstain from 27 and 32.
Okay, all right, make that noted, please, in the minutes. Okay, that brings us now to the minutes of April 17th. Those were in the packet. May I have a motion to approve?
So move.
Zach has moved, Stan seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right, in front of you, or in your packet, were the city bills or claims for this, meeting. The total city bills are $31,531.43. The fire department bills amount to $508.12. And the library is $494.44. Are there any questions or concerns about any of those claims? Hearing or seeing none, do I have a motion to approve the City of Wall Fire Department and Library claims?
So move.
Dan moved
Second.
and Zach seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Okay, also in your packet is the sales tax and the BBB.
Why is the sales tax up so much?
That is a great question. Because
Sure.
361% is over the top.
Yeah, and it'd be all of our numbers from last year, so. But we don't know.
No,
Yeah, oh yeah,
I just
because we
get
can't.
the numbers and we
Yeah.
don't get to inquire.
Oh.
And they only go by the numbers that they have. I mean, because I have called before on other times and
Mhm.
they say, well, those are the numbers that was reported to us and until somebody finds a mistake or whether it's somebody reported late,
Yeah,
I don't.
well, it's a good thing for us, so.
So the question cannot even be asked. It's obviously peculiar. Would you make sure you didn't add Sioux Falls in with us by some mistake, or Wasta, or Quinn? You can't even ask that kind of a question?
I mean, you could ask, but they aren't gonna know. They won't investigate for us. I mean, they just say if we find a mistake, it'll get recouped the next time. I mean, they're very closed mouthed about it. And it's been a frustration to a lot of finance officers because they wonder. It happened the same when we were low on our sales tax dollars. You know, like, everybody, do you have a reason why we're low? And nobody know, and you can't ask. Well, if it's an error, it'll get caught and we just won't be receiving sales tax down the road.
2-3 months, we don't.
Because the BBB does not seem to be out of order. In fact, it actually is,
Up 9%.
right. So why wouldn't, because BBB and sales tax always kind of run together, so, I'm having trouble with this, but
There must be some kind of error.
I don't know what.
I mean, hitting a number like that.
But as we know, we were low towards the end of the year too, and some people can just be late in their paying. And they take.
Oh, and that
penalty.
would impact if they
Oh,
made a
yeah.
late payment?
Yeah.
Okay.
well,
Good.
and I figure, and that I believed when, January came through substantially higher than before. But this number, is extraordinary. So, okay. We all, I think, are on the same page. There's a heck of a mistake here, so I guess we don't spend dollars that we wouldn't usually spend by any means, and until we
Well, you
can,
just only wanna spend what your budget tells you to spend, and because if it is a mistake, it'll get found out, and we won't be receiving sales tax for a few months until they get caught up.
okay,
So, I mean, the city runs with the budget. Just because we get more sales tax revenue one month doesn't mean that we go out and overspend.
oh, no, no, no,
You know,
I get
so-
that part.
Right.
But at the end of the year, then looking at next year's budget, and we've got these kind of dollars, would this affect the budget? I guess I'm addressing the budget committee. Don't buy into these dollars because they just don't make sense. I guess I'm looking at the next year already. I know where we're at, very tight right now. And, so that's my caution, I guess. Okay, so Zach, you're right. We're all just terribly amazed at this. And so then the other, item in your packet was the budget report for expenses, to date. So does anyone have any questions there or concerns? Okay, so then that brings us to the ambulance report, and Justin, I believe you're here. So do not go back to the ambulance board and say, hey, they are flush with bucks.
I have no idea. what-
We're good.
Excellent. City Council, Madam Mayor, thanks for having me this evening. For the month of April, the ambulance service had 14 calls for service. Of those 14 calls for service, we transported 7 individuals to the hospitals. As far as what's going on at the ambulance service, the big thing is the EMT class that is starting in June 3rd, I believe, is the starting class. We will have 8 individuals in that class. All 8 individuals are Wall residents. So it's gonna be fantastic. It's gonna be a huge help for the Wall ambulance service. Hopefully we'll be able to have them on. It's kind of a lengthy process. If we have them up and running and stuff by the end of the year, we'll be doing okay. The state makes it kind of difficult to get your license. That's about all we got going on at the ambulance service as of right now. Any questions for me?
When does the class start?
It's the first Tuesday in January, June 3rd.
June 3rd?
June 3rd. So the class will be held every Tuesday and Thursday. Starting the first week of June, going into September. The class may extend or decrease by 1 or 2 weeks, depending on how the class does as a whole. As I said, it'll be done via Zoom in conjunction with the Rapid City Fire Department. So I believe that most of the time the class will be held over at the board meeting, West River Electric. Lily's in the class, so she's arranged for us to be able to use that facility for the class.
Well, thank you for providing the leadership that makes people want to belong to the organization. So thank you.
You're welcome. We're getting there.
Oh, Rochelle.
Did you hit your numbers? Cause I know you had like a max that you could do for that.
Yes,
class.
so we had a max of 10 that we could have in the class. We decided as a group to stop at 8 because those 8 individuals were all Wall residents. We have probably about 5 or 6 individuals from Box Elder and the surrounding area that wanted to be in the class, but we decided since this is the first one we've done, the whole point of the class was to get Wall residents, so that way we could help out in case there is a large emergency. Those individuals will be here in Wall. So maybe the next time, if we can put on another class, we'll invite those individuals in.
In the next month, if there's any more Wall residents that get interested, would you take any more or?
So we have to register everybody this week.
Okay.
So probably they're ordering the books and everything. The books are like $400 each.
Oh,
I mean,
okay.
it's
Good to know.
ridiculous.
Just in case anybody were to.
Yeah.
ask.
So. Anything else? Excellent. All right,
Thank
thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Justin.
Okay, item number 13, agenda, request by Omni Hospitality. Molly? Yes, Joe.
Hello, everybody. I guess we are here, Molly. We're here to see about a third off-sale liquor license. Our economic director here helped us do some research, and we found out that the state is under 5,000 people, correct? Municipalities under 5,000 are actually allowing for a third liquor license, an off-sale liquor license. So with that being said, we would like to add that to our bodega shop in the Wall Mall. And so, yeah, I guess would have to go through you guys to approve a third license, but yeah, we were hoping to apply for that. And yeah, that's.
Carolyn, what is an off-sale liquor license? There's so many different ones,
Just like the grocery store has.
like liquor,
buy it
beer,
to go.
wine, everything.
Yeah, it would be like the gas station up there too.
Right.
BJ.
Yeah, BJ, sorry. And yeah, the grocery store has one as well.
So,
My only question is, and I tried to find the answer, but I didn't get a response to my email, is most of this legislation change does not go into effect until July 1st. Some of them are like an emergency type thing and they're effect immediately, but I don't know if this is one. And that was my question that I had sent out to see if when this went into effect, if it was the July 1st deadline. We can't do anything until it is in effect. And then the process would be to decide if that's what you want to do. We're gonna have to amend the ordinance because right now our ordinance indicates that we only have the two. So you'd have to amend it to add an additional third. And so this is not, and then you'll have to advertise too, because this is a new license. So this is not something that can happen right away. There's a
Right.
process to it. So
And is this possibly some other businesses might be interested in?
well, is that what, in advertising, if there were any businesses, then they would have an opportunity, or how would
well,
that
they
work?
would have an opportunity to come and express that they were possibly interested, but when the publication goes out, it does indicate that you are holding a hearing to offer this liquor license to his location. It's specific that way.
So that was just that was just passed.
What
So,
would
I
the
just-
benefit to the city be to have a third license?
Sales tax revenue.
Of course, we have plenty of, no.
Yeah, last month.
So we-
Knock out the wood, Mary, don't you?
So the first step would be to
Wait till
update our
July
orders.
1st. Well, wait till July 1st. Well, we update our ordinance we probably have to wait till,
I think you should wait,
yeah.
because you just never know. I mean,
Would probably be good to wait and let. give
Yeah.
everybody
until it
time to
is in
think about it a
effect,
little
and
bit.
then you can always reference that, you're, like a lot of our liquor ordinance does, it references the state statute that you're following this, and so. So if I get an answer from the email that I sent out, I can let you all know, but
So
unless Nathan knows for sure when this takes effect.
Will that put Joe first on the list?
You
I
don't know.
don't, I don't know offhand, no, I could look it up, but I'd have to find the session law and stuff to find out if it's effective immediately or July 1.
That's all gonna be up to you on how you want to handle it. I don't know.
So would it be prudent then to wait until July 1st, make sure that's gonna take effect, and then at the first meeting in July, start the ordinance process which is, remind us the ordinance process.
It has to have 2 readings. You make the amendment to it first, have a first reading. There's no additional changes. You have the second reading. It gets published 20 days following the publication. Then it becomes effective.
And you can't start this ordinance process before,
And have it
I,
so that it
take
cuts out
effect when
some
it
of the time.
comes, yeah.
I would think as soon as we find out that this is
Going into effect.
going into effect, we could start changing our ordinance then, otherwise
You're wasting. time.
we're gonna miss you're gonna miss the whole
You know,
summer season.
But
By
if
the
it
time-
doesn't go into effect till July 1st, you can't change your ordinance and just go by your ordinance. It has to happen at the July 1st timeframe. They aren't gonna sell him liquor until then.
No, but we can
No,
have
but
our
We could
ordinance
have it
updated.
in
couldn't
place, at the second reading. in
We can have our
July.
ordinance updated.
Possibly, yeah.
So that
Well,
as of.
yeah, we want to be legal and maybe we could even set it to go into effect July 1 to sync with the state law.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Because if we wait till July, then
yep,
you have 2 hearings and then 20 days and
Be
it'd
September.
be September, yeah.
What did it say before? The old one was, it was just 2,
It
if you're less than
limited to-
5,000.
Yeah.
It's actually
now-
1,000 and not 5,000. It's a
I think it's-
population of 1,000.
Or is it 1,500? I think it's 1,500.
During all the district meetings that I was attending, it was said 1,000.
Oh, okay, okay.
Unless that was misspoken,
So now they just raised it to one more to.
Yeah.
3.
to add an additional for the population of under 1,000.
So could we, table this until, May 15th meeting? And get more information? And then if we decided that on May 15th, we would still meet all of the deadlines, it appears. Let's see, May 15th, June 1st. No, we'd still be behind, wouldn't we? Because of the 20 days. We gotta count this backwards from July 1st, if we want it in place by July 1st. So that would be June 10th. It would have to be published.
Does that have to go through planning and zoning, or is that something we can?
That's an
No, this-
ordinance change, so it's different from council.
Cause we just, whatever ordinance that was that allows us to have 2, she takes that and revises it to say 3. And then we have to approve that first reading, second reading, published, and then 20 days. So I'm trying to count our days back to see if actually we need to move on it tonight in order to, because we only have
But you
actually.
Can't really move on it tonight because you don't have an ordinance change written yet.
Okay, so by May 15th, we need to have an ordinance revision. Okay, I guess that tells us that. So we will put that on our May 15th agenda, to have, liquor, what is this called?
Off sell liquor.
Of sale. Liquor ordinance revision. Okay? That sounds like that's the best we can do, Joe.
Okay, okay.
And
So,
Nick, could you look, or Nate, could you look into that? Here, okay.
I'm looking up the session law right now. I don't think that it's effective immediately, but I'm still kind of going through it, so I think it has to wait till July 1.
So are we out of, order then to try to have this, start this process so that in July 1? What is
I think-
this mean?
I think you're okay to amend your ordinance now so that when July 1 comes, then everything is legal and you're okay.
Okay. All right,
my only question is, will I be, since I brought it up, can I be first in line for it? Like if somebody else
is
comes?
that, like, when you
Since-
advertise it, what is the point of advertising? What can happen?
It's state statute that you advertise a new liquor license.
Okay, so say,
But we're not advertising the.
No, we're advertising that they are gonna hold a hearing to offer the off-sale liquor license to, how are you gonna call it bodega, or what are you gonna call
Well, it would have to go under Omni Hospitality.
it?
So
And
that would
then
just
the location,
That-
leave the
that'll be in the
opportunity for
advertising.
somebody who opposes it to come in
Okay.
and speak their case.
Anybody could come in and pose it if they want. Just-
At the hearing.
So there's not gonna be an application process for the off-sale liquor license.
well, just like the application of what you're approving tonight.
Yeah.
You fill out that application, and then once if nobody opposes it, then you will sign off on it. I'll get it sent in as soon as it's able to.
But when it's published, it will say your name on it.
Right.
but I think Joe's asking is he the first, I would say he's the first in line to get it.
That's gonna have to be you guys' decision. There's nothing
I
in
I
state
mean, cause
statute that says.
somebody could come and say, oh, there's a new liquor license, state laws passed, Joe's applied. I'd like to apply too. I mean, that's
Yeah, that can
possible.
happen.
Yeah.
and then what
And then
happens?
it'd probably go to a lottery system, kind of like the medical cannabis did. Would go into probably a lottery, or would be my guess.
You know, to be fair, you can't put these guys into holding how that's gonna work right now. I mean, you can't hold their feet to the fire on that. They're gonna have to wait until, if they do get some opposition at that hearing, and maybe they're gonna hear something out in the public from people watching the video. And they may have a reason why they would put it to the lottery. You just can't hold them to it right now, to have them tell you, you will be the first one in line. I don't think that's fair to ask of them.
Thank you,
That's
Carolyn.
in totally their decision. I'm just saying.
So at that first reading, is that when people could come and,
When that
Object-
hearing is, yeah, that date.
at that first reading?
I have to have
date.
10 days. It has to
Yeah.
be published 10 days. So. Even, I guess I don't know if we can get it.
So you're starting at May 15,
But it won't show up in the paper
yeah,
until the 8th. And that has to be 10 days before the council meeting. So the only way around that is if you guys decide tonight, you want to move that council meeting date to another date so that you will have the 10 days of the publication process. Do you know what I'm saying? Because I can't get it to
Which,
happen. Otherwise, you're
Carolyn,
gonna have
which
to wait
meeting is it
until
that
the June meeting,
we'd have to move?
the May 15th meeting.
Which
Because
direction?
farther out, like to either the 19th or the 20th. Because it's not gonna show up in the paper, and it has to be in the paper 10 days prior to the hearing. Well, it won't show up till the 8th, and that's not 10 days prior to the 15th. So in order to get that 10-day time frame in, you could move the May 15th council meeting.
To the 20th
To
or
the-
21st?
Yeah, whatever date would give you 10 days.
The 19th would be the soonest, and that'd be on a Monday.
And at that, I would not do anything until you get down to the agenda where it says the next meeting is May 15th. And then at that time, somebody make a motion to change that meeting date to whatever you decide it's gonna be.
okay, so what are our thoughts? Do we change the meeting to accommodate?
I think we change it to the 19th to get it rolling as fast as we can.
Okay. Right, we won't make a decision right now, but when we get to that point, someone will have to make that amendment. Am I correct about that? Am I on the right page? Okay. All right, Joe,
Thank you, Mary.
absolutely. So I think we just covered item 14 also. Then. Or do we need to make a motion?
I guess at this time I would like a
Okay.
motion to say to move forward with the advertising of the additional liquor license.
All right,
I'd like to make that motion to move forward.
okay, Jerry,
Sell liquor license.
thank you. Sorry for interfering. Jerry moved
Second.
and Dan is seconded. Any other questions or,
My question is it going to be an application that we're moving here, or is it going to be, for this additional off-sale liquor license? Because like Rick said,
Application of that,
just.
of that
an
hearing, to publish for the hearing is what you're asking for. At that hearing, you can make that determination if you want to go to a lottery system, you want, based on the feedback you're gonna get from the public.
Yep.
I mean, you don't know yet if you're
Yeah.
gonna get any feedback, so if you don't get any feedback, then, yeah.
well, wouldn't this motion need to be that we are going to add a off-sale liquor license?
No, you're just gonna publish for it, because when you amend the ordinance, that's when you're adding that.
Okay. So read the motion then, Katie, so that we do kind of have this right.
To move forward with a publication for a hearing of an additional off-sale liquor license.
Okay,
I'd still make that motion.
all right, so Jerry has moved
I second it.
and Dan seconded. Any other questions or thoughts? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries, okay. At this time, we're at public comments. This is a time for members of the public to discuss or express concerns with any issue on or not on the agenda. Action won't be taken. Each person has 3 minutes. Do we have any public comments to be made tonight?
Can I bring up one thing?
3 minutes.
Okay.
The timer started.
I don't know, we have a kind of a permanent, guest on the street that stays outside the hotel in a car. And like, you know, he like packs, I don't know, he packs rocks in now, and is there something that we could, ours, I don't know, is it okay for the, I don't know,
So, if it's private property, you can ask them to leave at any time. If you need law enforcement assistance with that, you can give us a call, we can go talk to them and tell them, hey, you need to leave the area now. If it's a public area, I believe there's the city ordinance as well as a county ordinance that they have to move within 14 days. Now, if they're, you know, interrupting your business or scaring, intimidating, making customers go around them.
You can have a pallet nut behind his car
yeah.
on the street.
So he's piling up, like, what was that, 2 days ago? He had a bunch of like big concrete blocks behind his car.
Not blocks, like
Right.
chunks of cement that he
Yeah.
got somewhere. And then today it was gone.
Yeah, but we get like hotel guests that are kind of, you know, they come up and complain that, well, they more scared maybe a little bit. but-
Well, he's parking on the street.
When did it start happening?
Oh gosh, he's been doing it for quite some time now.
Couple of weeks.
2 years, a year?
Oh, yeah,
Oh.
he's been doing it, it's been a long time. He was even sleeping outside during like that -20 below weather.
Oh, outside?
Yeah, yeah, well, in his car, he just
His
leaves his
car.
car running and sleeps in it. But, you know, even through that, I tried to even offer him like a hotel room to get out of the cold, and he wouldn't take it, but we, somebody paid for a hotel room, you know, and he stayed there, but it's, yeah, he came out in his underwear, it was just a horrible experience. He came out in his underwear, and was walking around the hotel in his underwear, it was, yeah,
Making himself right at home.
yeah, he did. But he didn't know if there was, because, and now he like throws his bike right there too. It just don't look great, but it kind of scares our hotel guests.
Do we know who the person is?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Deputy Austin, would you investigate that and maybe ask him to relocate?
Yeah, like I said, if it's on the public property, we can ask him to move and stuff. If he's not moving within the 14 days, then we can do a citation, stuff like that, or we can look at having a vehicle towed. Now, if he's doing trash, or I don't wanna call it trash, but leaving items that's making it, against an ordinance, then we can take legal action with that and stuff. Like I said, if you see something that is disturbing your customers, interrupting your business, stuff like that, you gotta let us know on that, 'cause we can take action on that as well.
But if he's on private property, you don't have to give him.
Yeah, private property,
Well,
law enforcement will show up, we'll tell them, hey, you have a few minutes to gather your stuff and leave, or we'll move it for you.
So he kind of stays right under the tree by Travel Lodge.
Oh.
And when he moves, technically, he only has to move a couple feet, don't he?
We will see to it that he relocates and it won't be on your property, okay?
Well, yeah, and he's not on our property, but.
Well,
just
on the
right-
street near your property,
Okay, well, yeah,
okay? We'll get it figured out.
okay, thank you.
Are we out of time then?
Yep.
Yep, okay, that's what I thought. Have to come up with something. Thank you, Joe.
Yeah.
Okay. That brings us to permits. This too has to do with a sign for the Salty Steer, the Bodega, and the Cup of Joe. Location. And the picture is included. For that will appear on the south end of the building. Do I have a motion to approve?
I thought you were part of it.
Okay, so Zach has moved to, and Stan has seconded to approve the Salty Steer Bodega and Cup of Joe on the building at 600 Main Street. Any other questions?
Who
All
made
those,
the motion in second? I'm sorry, I did my
oh,
own.
yes, it was Zach and Dan.
Okay, sorry. Thanks.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Okay, then we also have a conditional use permit that's been submitted from Small Town Glow. And this is to transfer a conditional use permit from the previous owner. And the new owners will be Tyler and Ashton Swift. Would I have a motion to approve a transfer, the conditional use transfer?
So, second.
Dan moved, Dan seconded. Any comments or questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay. So now this, we're at the point, again, this is something that came up at the legislature. And that is that each municipality, school boards, county commissioners at one meeting a year, review the open meeting law brochure. And that was included in your packet also. And I have asked our attorney, Mr. Cheekwan, to help us review that so that we can meet that expectation and put it in our minutes that we in fact did review the document. So we'll turn that over to you then, Nathan.
Thank you. So you all should have been provided the brochure this is done through the Attorney General's office, which generally explains open meeting laws and when they apply, how to go into executive session, all that good stuff. So I think it's just important to remember that when a quorum of council members meet, so 4 of you, I guess, meet, it can be considered a public meeting. that's open. And that generally requires an agenda that's posted 48 hours or 2 days in advance and that sort of thing. So be careful about especially discussing city business if it's 4 of you gathering. And then if you are in a noticed meeting that's open, like you are now, if there's something that's kind of private, that falls within one of the statutory exceptions, then you need to make a motion to discuss that privately and to close the discussion from the public. I think I've seen that in practice and y'all do a fine job with that. But you have to make sure that when you make the motion, you declare the general purpose that you're going to go into an open meeting, or excuse me, an executive session or a closed meeting. And so those are listed in statute, and that's 125-2. So keep in mind general things, which are listed in this brochure as well. Let's see here, the bottom left-hand column of page 3, and then the top column as well. But it's contracts, employees, legal issues, marketing and confidential information, even I would say development plans or a whole list of issues that affect city property. So if you do go into executive session, just remember to kind of state that general purpose. And then if you're going to take action on it, come out of executive session and say, we're going to move to approve the attorney contract, for example, like y'all have done. So there's an open meeting commission, a group that you can refer questions to, and if there's a violation that they can be referred to. But I guess I would just say, see me or your legal counsel about questions regarding that commission or whether there's a violation, that sort of thing. Does anybody have any questions or particular thoughts or feel like I missed something relevant to open meetings?
Have any questions? No, I'm not seeing any, Nathan.
Well, thank you all for reviewing that with me. And
Oh,
Nathan, I do have, I guess, so do you think there has to be a motion, or should I just make comment in the minutes that it was discussed and reviewed? What do you think is the best practice for that?
I believe the new law just says there needs to be reference in the minutes, an acknowledgement that a review is completed. So no motions required for that, just a reference in the minutes.
I could just at this time in my minutes, just say at this time, the open meeting law brochure was reviewed by the full council or whatever.
Yes.
Okay. Sounds good. Thank you.
So Nathan, I turned the page here and I did think of a question that I've been confronted on. We do, with Stan being gone and others, have Zoom meetings. And what people have asked me is when we go into executive session, is there anything we should do to confirm that we are in fact in executive session when someone's off camera, and how do we handle that?
Well, if for example, Stan appears by Zoom, or a council member appears by Zoom, that's part of the open meeting. If you go into executive session, you just need to make sure that you close it to the general public. So I think your Zoom, for example, it's kind of by invite and admission only. So like when I joined today here, I had to be admitted. I think if you go into executive session, you want to make sure that it's only council members. And if you are recording, you'll want to stop the recording of that and have the folks in the audience leave the room, that sort of thing. I have seen, for example, I represent the city of Hill City. I think you all know that as well. They start a new Zoom meeting if they're going to go into executive session. They close out the old one. I think that's just to be sure that nobody's lingering on there. And that's there's nothing wrong with the way you do it, but that's one other option you can do to make sure that it's totally closed and there's nobody kind of hanging out on Zoom or on the phone that would be able to hear. I think Zoom also has a call-in option. So in theory, somebody could call in to the Zoom and they could still be on the line. But your admin, whether it's Carolyn or whomever, would see if there's somebody on the line. So does that answer your question, Mary?
No, the question that has been posed to me on more than one occasion. For instance, if we went into executive session and you're on Zoom, how do I know your brother isn't sitting in the kitchen sipping tea and listening to whole thing?
You know, I suppose you don't know. And I don't know how you might, other than on their word. I think you declare that it's not open and it can't be recorded. But I don't know that there are other safeguards for that. That's a good question, Mary, and maybe I'll have to think about that and maybe even solicit an opinion on if there's another way that folks guarantee there isn't somebody else participating.
Okay, well, that makes me feel better. If you don't have an answer to it, when I've been saying, I don't know, I guess.
Well, I suppose you could, just for clarification, ask the question that if we're going to executive session, are you the only person in that room? Or, so then it would kind of be on the person who answered the question that he or she committed that nobody else is in the room listening.
Because that's been my answer, is that we are, depending on the integrity of the person that's on the council, they know we're in executive session, and whether it's you or anybody else, Stan, that, because I've been on the road also, and had to Zoom in, and so, yeah, or else like you say, declare it at the beginning and go on. Okay. So,
I think it's kind of at the same point of somebody repeating what was discussed in
Yeah.
executive session.
yeah,
That might be.
And I mean,
yeah, that might be.
I
Exactly.
mean, I think, but as far as Zoom, I think if you directly ask that person and they answer the question and there is an issue with that, they're liable for it.
Okay.
The other thing I might add that I have heard questions on are issues of, and some folks are concerned about it, if like the room is bugged, if somebody leaves a tape recorder or something like that. Now, our Supreme Court has found that to be illegal, just to be clear. But I don't know how you prevent it other than, searching the room and that sort of thing first. But we are a one-party state, which means that only one party needs to know that a conversation is being recorded. And that's not with regard to public meetings. That's just in a general conversation. But if somebody leaves a recorder and leaves the room, that one party is no longer there. And so if nobody knows that their conversation is being recorded, then that's where it becomes illegal. But yeah, recording of executive session is not legal either. So, that's a concern. I guess I'll just raise that as part of this review that some folks have. And I don't know that there's a legal or a perfect answer on how to avoid that issue or safeguard against that.
make a comment on that. I've taken a lot of tests with Zoom and online, and sometimes they make you do a view of the room with your camera to make sure there's nobody else in the room. If it were ever an issue, you could always do that to make sure that there isn't anybody else in that room. But I think everybody here is pretty trustworthy, so you can take their word for it, but you could do that if you wanted to go that extra. Yeah.
So your brother isn't there. Okay. All right. Any other questions for Nathan at this time then? Okay, so we can reflect it in our minutes that we did in fact, or I have to have a motion, don't I? Carolyn, no, okay. We're good.
Say we did it.
Okay, very good. So, we're in the part of, our reorganization for the year. And so I need to have a motion to approve First Interstate Bank, Black Hills Credit Union as our official depositories.
Second.
Okay, Zach has
I
moved.
think it's Jerry.
Oh, Jerry, sorry. Sounded like Zach. Jerry, and Dan is moved.
Right.
Have you got this right? Who did what?
Well, I thought it was Dan on the second one too, it was Mike, okay.
Yeah, it sounded like that. Okay, so it's been moved and seconded to approve First Interstate Bank and Black Hills Credit Union as our official depositories. All of those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. We need a motion to approve Pennington County Current as the official newspaper.
So moved.
Second.
Dan is moved, Dan seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. We need to designate the mayor to sign all official documentation on behalf of the city of Wall.
So moved.
Rick has moved.
Second.
Jerry seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. We need to appoint the mayor as emergency preparedness director.
So moved.
Zach has moved
Second.
and Mike seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Am I going too fast?
No,
Okay.
it's fine.
We need to establish the chain of command and location of Emergency Command Center. Public Works Building Emergency Command Center. Chain of command during an emergency is mayor, fire chief, assistant fire chief, council president, council vice president, public works director, and finance officer.
So moved.
Sir.
Dan moved, Zach seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. At this point, we also need to do an election for council president. Do I have a nomination for council president?
I would nominate Rick.
Mike has nominated Rick.
Second.
Jerry has seconded. Are there any other nominations? All those in favor say of Rick Husted as being council president, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Oh, yeah, I'm following.
Are we,
Yep.
okay. Did we vote yes? All those in favor say aye, we
Aye.
did, okay. Congratulations, Rick, as council president. Okay, at this point, I would open up nominations then for vice president.
I nominate Jerry Morgan.
I second that.
Okay, Jerry has been moved or nominated as vice president. Is there been any other nominations? Hearing none, seeing none, all those in favor of Jerry?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay. That also brings us to the mayor committee list. Okay. This year I did some reorganization on our committee assignments. One of the reasons for doing that is because I started realizing that some of our committees people have to meet a lot. And there's other other committees, not so much. So, I did some reorganization, and actually, in order to make sure everyone still had 2 committee assignments, I did cut or remove 1 person from and so there's only 1 chairman or council person on the committee services and hospitality and the parks and recreation. So that was a change, that I made just to try to be more efficient and not so, overworking the same people. Another change I made, and I think I have enough to go around, another change that I made, and this came from the planning and zoning ordinance committees. I have, appointed some new people to planning and zoning. And we did that because it was brought to our attention that because the city council has the final say in decisions, that having city council members on planning and zoning, and then those same city council people would have another vote at the final level. So I reached out and I found people, or they contacted me and wanted to serve on this commission. So with that being said, I also indicated what year each of their terms would end, because I found that 1 person had been on there since 2019 and nobody had reappointed or did anything different. The other thing you might notice is that because there's 5 members and 3 wards, so in some cases, there's only 1 person from that ward. So as their terms end, then that might give you an opportunity for some reappointment of other folks. So with that being said, this is the committee list that I am submitting today for this year. Okay, moving forward then, that brings us to,
I just had a question on the signs and billboards.
oh, yes,
So then there's just 1
right,
council person?
right. And so the people that sign those are the city finance officer, may and can be mayor and council person,
And public works.
and public works. So there would be 4 people addressing those in the
All
end.
right, I get it. Yeah.
So, yeah, it's not gonna be
Well,
left
that's
up to
really-
1 person.
That's really on banners. That is. The signs do
Still
come to the council.
They come with them.
Okay? And that's why, for instance, a sign tonight that was approved came to the council.
Yeah.
Good point, Stan. Thank you for bringing that up. Perhaps maybe I need to reword that and call that a banner permit category. I took that from previous lists that have been on there forever. And I guess,
I like that, Mary. Banner permit.
okay,
That's a good idea.
To change.
Clear.
I think
Okay.
it'd make it more clear. Yes.
is that acceptable? Do I have the consensus of everyone to change that? Because seriously, that particular title has been there for a long time. Okay, we will call that a banner permit, and I will get that changed. And I will send this to you electronically when I make that change, and we'll get that on the website. By this website, holy cow! Speaking of website, has anyone looked at that, Lynn?
Evidently, it's not all there yet.
Oh, I was looking something up just moments before I left for the meeting tonight. It was like,
Yeah, so we're in the process of switching, and so, the other one's down and this is up, but I will be having regular meetings to approve different sections of things that they're putting on there.
so when did you do that?
Well, I didn't do it. The
Oh, I
people
mean,
that
what-
were hired, but, oh, I've been having several Zoom meetings. It only takes a few minutes at a time.
Okay,
We had to get an Apple ID. We had to, reorganize. Organize, the host of our domain name, which is GoDaddy, and, yeah, I mean, have the Zoom meetings, kind of, we go over things and then they do the work.
well, seriously, it wasn't that long ago that I was on that website, and then tonight of all times,
Well, yeah, because
to find that, it was
Tuesday.
great.
Tuesday, I did put the agenda out on there, and it was fine, so
Okay.
it just actually happened.
Within days.
I think it was
Yeah.
today or, yeah, late yesterday,
Cool.
because it was, yeah, it was.
So just giving you a heads up, we have a really new look, for our website, so.
And this is the same website company that the school is gonna be going, with, so,
Oh,
yeah, it's gonna be kind of, yeah, good thing.
anyway, that was kind of a surprise at the time, but it was a good one, so thank you. Okay,
And Mayor, for the planning and zoning, do you think it'd be a good idea to have your new members and old members come together and have a one-time meeting about food trucks? Start talking about that?
okay, actually, does food trucks fall under planning and zoning or which is another thing that I was going to approach. If we start working on some other ordinances, is food trucks, does it fall over on that?
It just depends, so. Since we already have ordinances in our, and we're just, amending a section of the ordinance, then that goes to the full council. But to add a whole thing, the planning and zoning have to decide if this is something they want to bring to the council. Same way if you, were to redo the, like, why am I losing my words tonight? Like.
Just thinking about that grandbaby.
I know.
Why?
Annexing in that, goes to the planning and zoning.
Right.
Those things. It's hard to explain, but
So you think food trucks would fall under this category?
in planning and zoning,
Okay,
they would have to. go
so with that being said, I have I'm working with our consultant. And I have scheduled what we're calling an orientation meeting. We have that scheduled, and then once we have that orientation meeting, we can follow up with a regular meeting. So we will get our attention to that soon, is what I'm saying. So, because one thing I learned being on planning and zoning, and going through the process of updating our other one, there's a lot to that, and a lot of our members didn't even have I think an orientation meeting is where we gotta start to bring people up to speed all together, the new and the ones that have been on for a while, so. Okay, so, thank you. Any other questions on that?
If there's an app too.
An app for the city?
Yeah,
High five.
I'm the first one to get it.
we are just moving right up there.
That's good.
Okay, so item 26, we are gonna table until the next meeting, is that correct?
Yes, I did not get the list. Yeah,
Okay, so then that brings us to item 27, which is 2025-26 package on sale, off sale, malt beverage and South Dakota farm wine. And this is the one that you've indicated that you're gonna abstain from, because it has to do with Wall Drugstore, Wall Drug Backyard, Wall Auto Livery.
And we can do these all as one, right?
you can.
Move to approve the on sale, off sale malt beverage and South Dakota farm wine licensing.
For Wall Drug and Backyard and
Auto
Livery.
livery.
Okay, Dan and Jerry seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, please note that Rick has abstained.
I abstained.
Okay, so 2025-26 package on sale, off sale malt beverage and South Dakota farm wines for Moyle Petroleum, which is the Common Sense Store, Sleepy Hollow, Badlands Saloon and Grill, Badlands and Company, Omni Hospitality, Badlands Frontier Cabins, BJ's Country Store, Stay Wall LLC, Hanson Inn One Shot. Do I have a motion to approve? Stan moved.
Second.
Mike seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
And I abstain.
And Zach has, thank you. Okay, item 29, 2025 special event malt beverage license for the Wall Celebration Rodeo.
Move to approve.
Dan moved.
Second.
And Jerry seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. 2025 special event liquor license for the Celebration Committee. And the noise permit, requesting the fee to be waived.
Move to approve.
Dan moved.
Second.
And Mike seconded.
I'll have to abstain.
Zach is abstaining because he's on the Celebration Committee. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. A beer liquor garden permit for Badlands Saloon and Grill.
So what's the difference with that? What's a beer liquor garden?
It's their back deck.
Yeah.
It's not in the establishment.
You can set out on the back deck and have.
Do you have a number on limits of those?
Okay, all those in favor, or no, I need a motion.
So moved.
Zach has moved
Second.
and Mike seconded. Beer liquor garden permit for Badlands Saloon and Grill. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. We, I would request a motion for noise permits for Wall Drug, Badlands Saloon and Grill, Stay Wall LLC.
Move to
Make that
approve.
motion.
Okay,
Dan?
I'll second. Jerry moved.
Okay, Jerry moved and Dan seconded and Zach is abstaining. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right, item number 33, this document, which is,
The noise permits. I abstain too.
thank you. Yep. Zach and Waldrop reflect that. Okay, the annual report for City of Wall as of December 31st, 2024, or yeah, 2024. Carolyn, would you speak to this for us, please?
So this is required to be presented to the council at the first meeting in May. It's just a rundown of how the 2024 year ended and gets submitted to the Department of Legislative Audit. Several different sections of the report gets reported to them. This is what will actually get published in the paper. And it just kind of shows them the revenues and expenses for all the different departments and where we ended up at. And the bottom part is where, you know, our ending balance in the bank accounts are all listed there as well,
As of December 31st.
2024. All of it's for 2024.
So it has where we were at it on January 1st and where we were by December 31st. Okay. Any questions or,
Do need an approval.
So
okay, Zach has moved
Second.
and Mike has seconded. All those, any other questions or comments? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, we received from Pennington County Auditor a abatement, a property abatement for taxes. It is for the church parsonage, the Methodist church parsonage, because when it was taxed before, it was because it wasn't used as a parsonage. However, a pastor did move in the summer of 2023. And so now they are, we need to approve the property abatement for taxes and respond to these folks. But I have a motion to approve the abatement.
So move.
Dan moved, Stan seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Hi.
Opposed. Okay, finance officer report.
I don't have a lot to report. I've been pretty busy the last however many month and a half, whatever, preparing the annual report. So that's done and they're off my plate. So that took a lot. But I did receive a letter from Donna Crown on the community garden to purchase some soil. This particular entity is not in our budget, like the baseball, the park, the beautification. So I don't feel I can approve this expense, that it needs to come in front of you guys each year until they would decide to be included in the budget, or if that's how you guys would like to proceed with it, so.
So I have a question about this. It's called community garden. You know, the city paid for all the raised beds initially. We're furnishing the water, we do the weed control, Stan's letting him use his land. I had a question on this community garden name. I think these are private individual gardens, if I'm correct. I mean, anybody from the community can't go down there and pick the stuff and take it home. It's who planted it is their stuff. And I guess I think we've gone above and beyond for this. I would like to have the city buy the dirt to put in my garden.
Is that a motion?
Okay, just a little. But yeah, I mean, we're giving them a lot already. I mean, if they think their bed needs some few bags of Durban Building Center, I think they should be able to. I mean, it's not a huge expense, but I mean, we're putting a lot into it already.
We put quite a bit of time over
Yeah,
there.
yeah, time,
The
spraying,
beds and.
yeah.
Dan, how much money are we talking?
Anybody
Anybody added up?
It's a few $100s, but
Yeah.
$300, something like that, 200-300, but it's just, you know, like I said.
If we're giving
I
them the
have-
box,
I have raised beds,
location,
you wanna
the
buy
water.
myself. Yeah.
Or the city just takes it over and how's your green thumb going over there, Garrett?
It's pretty good.
Start growing some crops for everybody to come and pick.
Well,
Be the chairman of that.
So I would just say,
Right, isn't that under Parks and Recreation?
I don't wanna get in the middle of any of that, what you're talking about, but
Or that's
the
too
state is going to kind of fix the drainage. It's coming down South Boulevard, because it comes down South Boulevard, runs into our lot, and people get stuck in there, and it's a mess. And I had talked with Todd, he was gonna come up with some barrier, and then I was gonna kind of gravel it so that it looked better, and then I guess when we have the South Boulevard issue, then I talked with the state people, and they came up and looked at it, and so they're going to, I guess it's hard for me to explain, but it'll be recurved where it goes in and raised up, so it'll be kind of like there's at the gas station there, so water will definitely run down. And then then I will have Todd put some permanent barriers so trucks can't, or anybody can't pull in there, rather than some steel posts and.
Yeah, steel posts look tacky.
Right. But even the state, he kind of told me what they were gonna do, then he said they were gonna send me a blueprint of some sort, which they haven't, but I don't know anything about that anyway, but he said he probably would wanna wait to do all that until they get it done, and he was hoping that they would get it in. So I don't know what the state's, but fiscal year is. Anyway, I think he thought they would try to get it in, so that it would be completed by July, but I've not heard anything.
Yeah, I haven't heard anything on that. I know there's been talk, and I think they're talking like within 5 years, but for South Boulevard to get redone on both sides, cause it's alligator cracking pretty bad there, like over by Dairy Queen and Ace Hardware and stuff like that whole section up there.
Well, it does the same thing down by the grocery store, water runs, and then it just runs through,
You know,
runs out. So, anyway.
above my pay grade.
Well, because even right now, some trucker must have pulled in there and there's just these huge ruts in
I
there.
think that'd be kind of a common sense if there's water in there and it's kind of dirt, you wouldn't do that.
And maybe you can touch base with them and kind of see if that.
Yeah, I could, I mean, I have his name and all that, so yeah, I should just.
Check in with him and see if that's gonna happen, or if we have to do something temporary or whatever, because it is an eyesore. So,
Do you think they'd be planting before May 15th? I mean, maybe this is something you want people to come and explain what your thoughts are, and or that's up to you. You guys can just plain out say no or whatever you want. I'm just suggesting.
Seems like we'd be opening up kind of a can of worms if we had this. Are we gonna buy their seed?
Yeah, I'm good with, if they wanna come and explain to it how it's a community garden or, you know. Because in her request, and it, which I'm guessing next year, they're gonna be asking for new beds. If you read the
yeah,
entire
they're
letter.
starting to show their wear and tear.
Mhm.
And we
And
fix
those
them.
were expensive.
We fix them all the time too.
I rebuilt a couple of them too.
Yeah, they were just stapled together almost, yeah.
And I would even do the spraying, but I'm reluctant, I'm not gonna go down there and spray it when they got dark, cause the next thing you know, then that'd be my fault. So I think
That's
you gotta find people to spray so that. I think
Yeah,
it's Garrett, so.
You got big fingers.
I can, reach back
You got a
out.
good recipe.
Say
Yeah.
that. Visit me
It's
about
there.
it.
It's there, desert.
Well, I think, if they watch a video, read the minutes, they're going to understand that what the feeling is and that there's some concerns, and if they want to come and visit with us, they're
And May
very welcome.
15th is plenty early.
Okay.
Yeah. So you should be planned before then
And,
anyway.
if they watch the video, they read the minutes and see, then maybe they'll understand and they'll say, no, we understand, we don't need to attend, but.
Because the city is already, as indicated, that Dan has indicated, is really putting a lot toward this project at this point, so.
Okay.
Okay. Anything else then in your finance report you'd like to share?
No, just that I'm leaving after the meeting tonight to head out to the Tetons, so I can meet my new little grandson.
Congratulations.
Thanks.
And you'll be back, how long are you gonna be gone?
I'll be back Tuesday to work.
Oh, quick trip then, actually. But you have someone going with you if you're going tonight, right? Okay, very good. All right, safe travel.
Move the meeting along is what you're saying.
Yeah, okay. Garrett, please.
They started on Second Avenue, water main update the other day. So far, they have 140 feet of water line, new water line put in. Looking really good. Got We had one little mistake where the one water service was not marked right and they dug it up, but they got it back together and no real big issues there. So we plan on probably next week, they'll start over on the Creighton Road side. And so the Creighton Road will be closed in that intersection. And they have signage for, trucks to go around, coming through the ball fields and cars and pickups can go around, because we have a trailer over there for them, so.
Okay. And you've been communicating on a regular basis
Oh, yep.
with everybody?
Yep, I go up there at least once or twice a day, harass them.
Oh, well, with the engineers, but what about the residents that are affected? I'm talking.
Oh, yeah, no, they're usually never hires. No, there's usually no one's home. Dorothy's out of town for a while and the others are at work, so.
And they have water when they get home, so everybody's good.
Yep.
They can't park maybe in their driveway right now, but.
They could have wanted to, but I think one of them chooses to park down the street. but it's
Okay.
no big deal.
And they
So,
do they cross Glen Street? Will they cross?
No,
So it's just from Glen Street to Creighton?
Yep.
And they're gonna be working on Creighton?
yep, across
Okay.
Creighton, but not good.
All right,
Tuesday, we took the fogger for the mosquitoes to rapidly calibrated. And they do a little class up there. It's all free, by the chemical from them, so they test everything, make sure all the particles are the right size and update us on. Was it public relations, I think they talked about, you're supposed to give backs and. Whole time, Brandon was looking at me. Would you tell people stories about them? Don't worry about that. But there's a lot of facts out there. So if we want to put any information on our website about location of, where mosquitoes breed, like tires, fur bass, clogged rain gutters, anything, they have little ads you can put on there to help with that too, because that's one of the biggest things. I try and keep everything that I can around the city, baited with stuff, and it would help if the residents would too, so.
I sincerely hope we have a mosquito problem this year, actually.
I was gonna say, it's starting to look like we're not.
Yeah, I like the moisture too.
I did get an email that they did, take away the funding that they used to give help with buying mosquito products. That was one of the budget item that was.
So
Expenses on our own.
do we have money then to,
We always
Okay.
put some money in the budget, but some of that was shared cost, but it won't be this year, so.
okay, good to know.
So what we buy are they're called briquettes. There's like 130 day and 30 day, and it's a larvicide that kills them. Or it doesn't kill them, it doesn't let them develop into a mature mosquitoes, and then that's what the fogger's for. If they do mature into mosquitoes, then that will take them there.
Okay.
So I kind of have it mapped out where I go all the time and throw those in there.
Well, thank you for being on top of that, for sure.
Cleanup days, Saturday. The transfer station will not be open, but they will have roll-offs in front to put garbage there, and we will have someone at the rubble site. And we will be picking up tires around town. And I really wish we would consider not doing that anymore.
The tires.
Yeah, because we've done it for I don't know, we've done it for a long time, and there should not be a tire in town anymore. And every
Explain
year-
why, though,
Why?
why? do you-
Okay, well, I've been at certain places and people get their tires changed and they'll look at me like, city picking up tires today? Or this year? And I was like, yeah, we usually do. Okay, I'll take them home instead of having the business take care of them. So we're paying for people to dispose of their.
How many tires do you usually end up picking up?
$100.
What do they, what does the tire place charge, $5?
I think it's like $5 for a tire, and then once in a while, somebody decides to bring me a tractor tire or a truck tire and leave it in front of the shop, so those are even more.
Right.
So, I mean, it is, I mean, if we had a problem, but by now it should be cleaned up. I mean, I don't,
Maybe look at doing it every other year or every 3 years or something.
just pay to dispose of your tires. No, I get it, if it gets to be an issue.
Yeah, they'll just store them then, and then there'll be more mosquitoes.
Well, no, that's just my opinion.
Well, we could just quit it after this year and just see what happens.
Because I really don't like picking up all those tires. And I don't see why we should be paying for it when
Well,
you're.
that's
you should be-
the reason to me is if we end up paying for them to be disposed of, that's crazy.
And there's people that have a house in town and one in the country. And a lot of implement tires that come in, or, you know.
Right.
So I think we're being taken
Other
advantage
towns, if people have two houses. But yes, I think so. Not that I don't wanna pick them up, but like you said, it's like, why should we pay for it
of.
when?
Right. So with that being said, would you reflect that in the minutes then, please, and, or let's
This will
talk
be our
about,
last
let's
year
have a
to do it.
consensus.
This will be our last year to do it, and next year we won't.
Because, and put the reasoning as it's a city expense, or however you wanna word that. So Zach, I have your consensus, Jerry?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, consensus of the whole council that we, this will be our last year for picking up tires.
Thank you.
Okay, anything else?
That's it. We
Okay,
start mowing,
oh,
probably not some.
yes, and it's beautiful that it's green, so.
Oh, and we did, and in case somebody mentioned us working out in Teddy Husted's trees, we went and cleaned out all of the tumbleweeds in there, cause most of them came from the city property, and it was really, really bad.
So how did cleanup day with the kids go yesterday?
Very good. They had a group of freshmen come over there, and the wind was blowing, and they just throw it in the wind, and our snow fence at the end would catch it and pile it in the truck and haul it off, so they did a really good job.
So with that being said, Katie, would you send a thank you note to the school for helping with the tumbleweed project then in particular? As well as perhaps the chamber will send a thank you for, I mean, you put, what, 150 kids out picking up trash? Did you have a lot of bags to pick
I
up?
don't know where they went. Somebody must have picked them up all, because when they left where they were helping us, Brandon and I went around and I didn't, usually they just leave it right on the side of the street or somewhere, but
Well, thank goodness they didn't with the way the wind was
yeah,
blowing.
so I'll look in to see who did pick it up and I'll thank them.
Okay, perfect. So, all right. All right, anything else then?
I'm good.
Okay, so, for my mayor report, we just had another alternative energy task force meeting. We are gonna be making a recommendation to the county commission in regard to the ordinances, that the county is gonna put in or could abide by. And how that affects us is then we might be able to mirror those ordinances at home for the city. But also we need to understand that these ordinances will affect the property around us. So, if someone like out north decides that they want to start a wind, project, then, those ordinances would take effect, or somebody south of us, or put in solar panels or whatever. Usually those have to be tied to some kind of a utility source. So that might limit what would happen around here, but anyway, that's the purpose of that particular task force, is to take something back to the commission because they had put a 1-year moratorium on it. I also, was approached and did write a letter of support to support the Badlands National Park. I was asked by the superintendent. They are seeking for international dark sky park designation. And, in that letter, I indicated that, that might bring a whole new element of folks that are interested in dark skies, which would make a difference for our tourism dollars. And it also would give and has an overlapping and preserve opportunities for visitors that really feel like this is an incredible resource to be able to look at the stars. Now, for us that get to see stars every day, well, unless it's cloudy, it's not a big deal. But someone that lives in Washington DC or San Francisco that cannot see the sky, it is a big deal for them. So Badlands National Park getting this designation would be an awesome thing for our area. So I wrote the letter of support for them. And lastly, so that we indicate that we do follow up on what we said. We did send a letter regarding the concern that was addressed at the last meeting. That was accomplished. So with that, that completes my report. And the next item is when our next city council meeting will be.
Has anybody else been getting these emails about having to update your Golden West account? I mean, like last week, I've got 3 of them.
They come in all the time.
I just delete them.
And you check the email address and it's Bob Smith from who knows
I
where.
haven't even opened any
Yeah.
of them, but yeah, I would.
Yeah.
But if you check the email, you can tell right away that they're fraudulent.
I find if you block them and mark them as junk, they slow down tremendously.
At least for a while.
Yeah, until they
Yeah,
get a
I
new
just
email.
started getting it again, hadn't had one for quite a while, but.
Okay. Any other questions, or items, for discussion that need to come up? I guess I jumped that. I got my paper really. Any other items? Okay, then, what is our feeling about our next council meeting?
The 19th.
That worked for everybody. For me. Works for me.
The 19th?
On Monday. I'll make a motion that we have our next city council meeting on May 19th.
Okay, it has been moved and seconded that our next city council meeting will be May 19th at 6:30. Is that a conflict for any of you? No. Okay, all those in favor say aye.
All right.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Who
Okay.
gave the second? I'm sorry.
Okay,
Yeah, okay.
okay. So with that being said, could I have a motion for an executive session?
I make a motion to go into executive session for the purpose of discussing legal personnel issues according to SDCL 1-25-2
Second.
Thank you.
All those in favor say aye.
All right.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Okay,
Mom, step outside and make a quick phone call.
sure, because that's in the
Sorry.
bathrooms.
My daughter here to hear.
I just need to pause this.
Good.
Just a moment, please.
Car's not driving them home.
Okay, call us out of executive session Is there any other items that need to come before the council this evening? Hearing and seeing none, the meeting is adjourned.
I thought it was